Jonathan Edwards said, uh, you can't hear her. You can't have her. In fact, I think Braden usually, I think he asked to date McKenna before parent dad before he started talking to her. You can't have her. The young man said, but I love her. Edwards said, you can't have her. The young man said, but she loves me. Again, Edwards said, you can't have her. Why can't I have her? He protested, because she is not worthy of you, replied Jonathan Edwards. Yes, she is a Christian, but the grace of God can live with some people with whom no one else could ever live. May I say to you, there are a lot of unworthy Christians today with uncontrollable tempers that spoil their testimonies as much as anything in this life can spoil them. Isn't that true? That concludes that section. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which is section verses 20 and 21. Verse 20. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. James chapter 1 and verse 20. The anger of man is contradictory to the will and work of God. This is the reason we shouldn't argue about religion. Have never yet found anybody who agrees with me 100% or with whom I agree 100%, but that is not reason for me to fall out with him. Someone came to my office the other day while I was listening to a broadcast as it came over the radio. He said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm listening to the only man with whom I agree 100%. James said, the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. You may feel that you are angry because you are a defender of the faith, but my friend, the wrath of a man simply does not work the righteousness of God. Don't kid yourself that you are angry for his sake, because he's not angry. He's in the saving business. Verse 21. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word which is able to save your souls. James chapter 1 and verse 21. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness, that is, put away all filthiness of the flesh, and superfluity of naughtiness is better translated as abundance of wickedness. The and receive with meekness the engrafted word. The word engrafted should be implanted. The implanted word of God. In other words, you are to receive the word of God. I believe the word of God is the greatest preventative against the sin of the flesh. And the old Scottish preacher said, and my father in law Darrell has this underlined. This is his commentary that I'm using. Sin will keep you from the Bible, or the Bible will keep you from sin. He was certainly accurate about that, which is about to save your souls. James is speaking to those who have been saved. You have received the implanted word. It has been planted in your hearts. The word has already brought salvation to you, but you have a life to live in it as a Christian. Salvation is in three tenses. I have been saved, I am being saved, I shall be saved. James is speaking here of salvation in the present tense. And that concludes that section. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which